Hi guys, we are meeting James Hillier for an interview today. I have my camera guy with me, Tom. Against my better judgment, I ask you to ask questions. You making me ask him about his balls, and I don't want to do that. But we have some questions ready, and I'm actually really excited because he's one of the greatest people in racing ever. Oh my god. I keep count of how many times I make a loser out of myself and say stuff like, can I touch you? Stop now. Just walk in. Hello. How does one become a TT racer? On your example, how did it happen?
I just wanted to do it. I think it's not something you can kind of turn on or off. I did an amount of short circuit racing before, but never clicked. It never worked out, you know. And then the more I thought about TT, the more I kind of wanted to do it. And at first it was just a case of doing it, you know, but I'm very competitive and one thing led to another.
Yeah.
And, you know, I did it and then I thought, right, I need to now do it faster and then I got quicker and then I was like, right, I want to actually win this. It's gone from that really, you know, and now we're sort of at the sharp end and you know, I want to win more than ever. Obviously, it's a very risky, dangerous race and an event, but it's the competitiveness within me. It's a challenge. It's a task I want to do.
You get better. So every time you go, I do have what it takes. I now have even more.
Yeah.
So do you get greedier for it?
Yes, yeah, you do, totally. And I probably haven't accepted that so much. I always said to my partner, I said, I just want to win one and then I'll stop. And I don't think that's going to happen, you know. It gets hold of you and now my whole year sort of evolves and prepares for TT. I just can't wait to go off, you know, first night of practice is, that's it then. I'm in my element and that is harmony. That is where I want to be and you can't beat it.
You started riding when you were 4 years old.
6, I was actually trials.
Wow.
Which is totally the opposite to
Yes.
man. We never had a lot of money, it was always sort of tight. I actually outgrew the bike and we had to sell it and we couldn't afford another one. And then it was sort of TT that reignited things. My dad never raced, but he was always into motorcycle racing. My parents had separated, that was our holiday for the year. My dad and my sister, we went to the Isle of Man in '97. Absolutely scared the shit out of me. You know, I was 12, I think, then at the time, and it is a life-changing, you know, for anybody who goes for the first time, totally changes your perception on everything because it's so incredible, you know, compared to watching it through the television. Even just sort of stepping foot on the island, you feel the atmosphere, and then standing trackside is another level, you know, and I've kind of got used to it now. I don't like that part of it. Fagan's do it as a newcomer this year, and I envy him because he's got that whole excitement thing, build up in the unknown, you know, and I can't get that feeling, so I have to kind of try and get it another way. So I went with my dad and sister and ended up having go on mini motos on the promenade. You know, I kind of straight was get my knee down and it was just heaven. It was all I wanted, and came home from TT and did everything in my will, and eventually we managed to get a bike and just started mini motoring. And I worked from every weekend from when I was 14. As soon as I could, I was working to help pay, and just went on from there really, you know. But that year, '97, that was when the seed was sort of planted. Thought, oh, I want to do that. One day that's going to be me.
There's something about being scared. I think, do we confuse excitement maybe with being scared? Because we do so many things that we're scared of and then actually we end up really loving them.
I think often things look worse than what they are, you know, and there's a difference between spectating and actually doing something. And people ask a lot is, how do you do the TT, you know, how do you go that fast? And remember, and if you haven't experienced it, then you would never understand it. But having done it, you know, it actually, you know, to me it's an amount of tarmac circuit. I've made myself learn it, and now I'm making myself go as fast as I can around there, you know. It's a case of how much you want something, I guess.
You can't compare this to going fast on the track. Here you have death on every corner.
Yeah.
Do you have a moment of clarity thinking, I'm going really fast, if I mess up now, this will be bad?
I think you're aware of that all the time, and you have to be, because if you weren't, then you would crash. I wouldn't say I'm riding around scared. You can't do that. I have to ride around aware of the consequences if I made a mistake in that particular section or any of the sections. You just do a mass really fast. If I go this fast around there, then this will be the outcome. I just almost go into like an autopilot, and my subconscious brain just does what I have tasked it to do, you know.
You must have some butt clenching moments during a race, and I'm guessing more than once. You must get over them so quickly because there's no time to go back into the pits and just go, oh, that was a bit dodgy. Do you get over it just instantly?
You have to be one step ahead. Say I have a moment, my brain is assessing and functioning on the next section, not what's happened. So it's very easy to get over an issue. You're going so fast in some sections. If, say, Bray Hills, the bike grounds out. And sometimes you'll dip the peg and the bike will wobble, but your brain isn't thinking about that. Your brain is logging what's happened. By all means, whatever you do, there's nothing you could do at that moment to fix it. It's what's going to happen there is going to happen. Obviously, if I run in too hot and run deep, then I'll remember that absolutely for the next lap. I always try and ride with a bit in hand, you know. I know some riders use all the track. Some areas where it's safe to do so I do, but I like to keep a bit of a margin.
Like when I get on the bike, I leave everything behind. But there's one thing I can't leave behind. I can't forget that I'm a mother. I go, I have a child waiting for me at home. I won't go as fast as I think I can.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful family, and do you think it does affect your riding, your racing? Whether it's a positive that you are safe or anything, and maybe you take more risk if you didn't have a family waiting for you? Or do you think you feel like there's more pressure on you not to crash, and thinking about not crashing does usually end in crashing? Do you feel it's affecting you in any way?
Yeah, there's definitely an effect there, but I wouldn't say it's a pressure. I don't put more pressure on myself not to crash, you know.
Yeah.
I just try and be a bit more, especially now, you know, I've grown up quite a lot since I first did TT, and to me there's safe risks and there's silly risks. At the end of Solby Straight, you could make a couple of tenths up, maybe braking harder and later, which to me is a safe risk, because if you outbrake yourself there, you're going to end in a field. Same as the Craigna Bar, you know, there's an air fence. So there's sort of parts of TT where you could take a safe risk.
Yeah.
Obviously then you lose, you won't finish the race, but you could gain a little bit of time and chance hurt yourself a little bit. But then there's other sections where risk is massive. I ride to a comfort level, and then my first number of risks are in the safe areas. But I would never go to the level where I would take the risks at the silly areas, if that makes sense. I wouldn't go to that end of the scale. You know, if someone wants it that bad, then they can have it. I just do what I feel comfortable with. You have to believe in yourself around the Isle of Man. I'm confident in me and my machinery. That's a big aspect, I think. Guys who jump around teams, they're unaware of the mechanics or the structure of things, and the machinery is different. I've stayed the same. To me, that works. We're a good combo, and I'm content that way.
It was last year they asked you, are you going to change? And you said you don't need to fix something that isn't broken.
Yeah.
It seems that riders don't really care about loyalty, or it's all about the money, and you can always get a better deal elsewhere, but you must trust the bike that they built for you. It is important, isn't it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm a bit too nice at times and give too much away with teams, or do more than I probably should with certain things. But I believe a lot in loyalty, especially with that team. You know, we've been together a long time now, sort of 8-9 years. It works well, you know, the results are getting better, the bikes are good. The local, you know, I go often down there on the weekend with my son Monty, and we'll just hang out and get hot chocolate or something and chill out, you know, it's nice.
There's a picture from the last year's TT that's my favourite, from the ones that you shared. I do love BSB racing, I do love MotoGP, I love all racing, but the magic of the TT to me is that none of you act like queens. You show up, you just normal blokes. Like, if you are in the paddock, it's actually hard to tell who's a racer and who's just part of the team and working there, or just spectating. And you posted a picture of your newborn baby getting a bath in a little sink in the motorhome, and I thought, this is the TT, this is how real it gets.
She was born in March, and then she was at TT then in June. She was 2 months old. She was too young to go in the shower. I just said, just bang her in the sink and get it done, you know. She was small enough to fit in the
she fit it perfectly.
Sink in the motorhome, and that was it, you know.
You don't get special treatment at the TT? They're not in a fancy hotel?
No way, no, and I wouldn't want her to do it like that either, you know. That's where I think people then start changing, is when things become like that. I definitely don't do the TT for all that glamour, you know. It'd be nice to have a few more quid out of it, but the glamour side is not what I'm into. I just like to ride a motorbike and then have a good 2.5 weeks with my team and family.
Do you still get excited about stuff? Because I'm guessing that must take the edge of everything now.
That's the downside of TT, I think. I struggle to get a kick, you know. It's sometimes frustrating, you know. I just want to go fast, and you can't do that. I can't do anything like I do at the TT until I'm at TT.
So I'm guessing you're a mellow driver now. Whether you go 50 or 80 or 90, it's still not the same in the car ever.
No,
the speed is never the same.
No. Although I did yesterday, I was at a driver's awareness course for speeding, so I'm even slower now.
So sometimes, so you still go for it sometimes.
Yeah, but it was an empty dual carriageway, the Spurrow.
Oh, it's killing me, that road. Is it true that your road bike is a C90?
Yeah. and then we'll be getting MOT'd this month. Gets MOT'd every May, ready, and then it goes over to TT as like a bike for the team or me to use and get round on it when we're over there. I used to ride that bike from Ringwood here to Ludgershall, which is an hour trip. I look like an idiot, and I don't really care what I look. One day a Fireblade actually, it was over Tidworth Way, and he come howling past me on this A road, and I knew full well this roundabout was flat out for me on the 90. So he come blasting past, you probably know what's coming. Absolutely spanked him round the roundabout, just showed him up, but then there was a few corners after, and I managed to sort of gap him, and then the big next straight he come back past again, and he obviously wouldn't know who was riding it. But grin factor for me, that was the challenge. The thing does 55-ish, and I could do nearly the whole run home, sort of flat stick, and it cost me like £2 a day. A few of my friends now have started getting them again. A couple of times we had to set off around 6-7 o'clock and ride to central London, all on C90s, 4 or 5 of us, and coffee stops and things. In London, every set of traffic lights was like a speedway style. We'd all be to the front and race into the next set of traffic lights, or it was just carnage, but it was kind of relatively safe because we were capped to like 50 miles an hour. We're all in open face helmets, it's so much fun without breaking too many laws. Our licences were pretty safe. I don't think we were overly safe because we were still doing some silly things. I was sort of over going fast because I've done TT and I couldn't replicate that on the road, so I did the next best thing. And when you're in the right group of people on C90s, that was good fun.
Throughout the year it's just preparation, but let's say a week before, then a day before, then an hour before, do you get itchy feet? Do you get the excitement? Do you get butterflies in your stomach still? Let's say a week before, what goes through your mind? Are you still just preparing and just thinking about little details, or are you going, oh my god, next week I'm going to be on a TT?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going, oh my god, I wouldn't be panicking in that way. I'd be quite excited, to get it going. And normally, practice weeks isn't really an issue because there's no big pressure to perform. As long as I'm happy with my bikes, then I'm good. The only concern is that there's an issue and we can't find a solution. But that again is the joy of staying with Bournemouth team, is stays the same. Race days are a little bit different. I just kind of want to get going. I don't want to be sat around when they delay the races. That's often frustrating because you're stood around in your leathers, and they're not made for standing around in. You're just uncomfortable, you're trying to keep drinking, but you don't want to be peeing all the time, and then you're thinking, God, I should probably eat, but then you don't want to eat too much as you bloat, so you're just kind of like preparing, but then it's quite hard to then re-prepare when they change the times.
Because you have to remain ready, which is very difficult.
Yeah, it's hard, but then I feel I'm pretty chilled, so it's often maybe an advantage for me because I don't get too revved up. I just stay like level, whereas other people's emotions might be up and down a lot. I just want to get on with the job.
Do you get the high afterwards?
Yeah, at the end of the last race, always, for sure. The last lap of the last race, you come down the mountain and you can see Douglas Bay, and then you're home. Then it's always nice to see that. When we leave the island on the ferry, I always sort of like see the island off. I always go on deck and sort of say goodbye.
Once it's all over, do you get, it's over now?
Like a depression.
Yeah, you do.
You kind of like now just try and stay busy after it to try and. It's not so bad now. We do the classic TT because we go from then June to August. We go back again for the classic, so it's not so bad. But I was driving the motorhome back every year down the motorway at 70 miles an hour. I feel like I could just jump out, and run. It's so slow compared to what you've just been doing. And generally, everything in life becomes a lot slower after you've been racing around the island. Yeah, there is definitely a kind of a depression there, and I'd say, as my partner would agree, I drink quite a lot after that. Quite a lot of beer, a bit of rehab, with alcohol involved, and then get back onto a level.
You have progressed from circuit racing to the TT racing. What made you make that switch?
It was a change of direction, I think, really. My short circuit career hadn't really come to an end, but come to a point where I was stuck, really. I didn't have a great means to go forward into another ride as such, or another team. 2008 was my first year at TT. But then said that, I did TT 08 and 09. I had a good year in National Superstock with some podiums. But once I'd done TT, I just took the edge off of the circuits, And sometimes I do still think I'd like to have gone to like World Championship maybe and seen a bit of the world and ridden some of those circuits. But I'm happy where I am now, doing just the roads, just TT, and keeping it simple. For me, that's what it's about. Northwest TT, Then the classic TT obviously now in August is a good event. When I'm at home, I'm with my family, and my son does trials now, so we go out and I've got a classic trials bike. I'd rather spend my weekends and time with that, and then in the week I'm putting my time into this business. So
this is your shop, how's that going?
good, this month definitely coming into the right season now, and it's 100% harder than what I thought it was going to be, to set a business up and get it going. But it's also rewarding, putting all my time to build something for when I'm too slow at the Ironman, I can fall back and maintain my passion and that bit of competition,
There's something really refreshing about someone in this industry doing something because they care. I'm very drawn to companies that care about a happy customer. It's big money we're spending on motorbikes, and this is where credibility is so important. And when someone genuinely wants to make everyone happy and sell something that is good, not that is making you profit, there's so much charm to it. I feel looked after, and I feel I'm not fooled into buying stuff. And this is what you do, because I had a good browse through your products, and you don't sell one thing that I go, oh, I don't like this, they're just trying to make money, and you sell a lot of stuff that I actually really like. So you filter what you sell.
I try and back up what I'm selling as things that I would use myself. A lot of motorcycling products and accessories can be expensive. Spending a lot of money on something always feels better if you feel you've got a good service for your money, And I've heard horror stories of people buying things, they don't get the backup service, and there are often sometimes awkward customers that are particularly picky with things, but as long as I can have someone feeling content and happy with what they've paid me for, then that's what I aim and strive to do, is give people what they deserve, really, what they pay for, and be there for the next time they want to replace it or something else, It's a bit of a relationship and a kind of a community,
So to make it clear, this is your business.
Yes,
you run it on your own.
I've got a guy that helps me occasionally, quite a techie computer guy, which I'm not, so he's quite an essential key to making it work.
So when someone orders something from your website, it's posted by James Hillier.
Yeah, there's parcels up there that I've packed this morning to go out.
And if they ring the number, that's you answering the phone.
A few shock people, but I am just a normal guy that's trying to live in and secure a future for me and my family, really. A lot of the suppliers set their retail price. Everyone's the same sort of price, really. The only difference you're going to get is the service, and that's why I'm trying to sort of make it a bit different. All my orders, they go out with a few sweeps. I always put stickers in, and they feel that the thought and effort has gone into what they're getting, which is what they're paying for. And a guy phoned last week, and we were talking about the ZX10 parts. I said to him, I'd just been testing our new race bikes and things, and then he realised who I was. I was talking to him for about 20 plus minutes, It was just a case of me feeling good and satisfied with supplying with what he needed to know, and hopefully he'll return again. That's how it should work, I'm happy to talk, share my views. Yeah, that's it. That's your motto.
Questions from people.
I'm ready for the.
You ready?
Yeah.
Could you ask him how it feels to go flat out down Bray Hill? It looks scary as hell.
It's so fast. It's over before you've had time to think about it. You can kind of overthink it and dwell on it a little. When I do it on the bike in a race or practice, I don't even think about it. It's just it's a done thing. But when I go over there on the open road in a car, or even drive up it in the motorhome I had before, I cannot believe that is the same bit of track that I ride on the race bike, because it's all over and happens so quick, you don't take as much of it in, but when you're often stuck in traffic there, or 30 mile an hour road pace, it feels incredible, it's so steep and blind in race situation. I just do it, it's a weird thing, and that's what I try not to do, is too many laps or driving on the course on the open road, because it makes me overthink a lot of stuff. I prefer to remember it at race pace and how I see it when I'm racing.
But you still go, I've never seen that house before.
Yeah.
I've gone round it many times, but I've never seen that.
And then you often see things that you don't want to see. You think, I haven't seen that barbed wire there, or that tree, or that bit of wall sticking out, and the things you don't really want to be seeing, because then they do stick on your mind. Bray Hill is probably one of my favourite, it's a good sensation kind of over Bray Hill.
Feel free to ignore the question. When you rode the H2, was it better than CX? How about you tell us how good it was?
It still makes my hair stand up now thinking about, I mean, it's only last year, but it just feels like it was last week. Definitely something I will take to my grave. I was asked to do it via a text message. I absolutely said yes, and I kind of look forward to that more than some of the races. It's like Christmas, count down the sleeps to actually get on it. What I didn't want to do was get off it and think, God, I wish I'd have gone fast. I just wanted to ride it as fast as I could, comfortably, if that makes sense, without sort of taking those silly risks. Make as much noise as I could was the plan. I was grinning the whole way around. A lot of sections I was kind of envious of the people spectating, because I wanted to be there to hear it come past, It was so loud, you know, that thing makes a lot of noise.
Yeah, it does.
A good noise. Yeah, it was a good day and a good experience.
Would it be suitable for a TT race?
No, definitely not good for a race because it's too fast. You could never do 6 laps on that. Well, it would do 6 laps. You'd have to pit every lap because it used a tank of fuel in the 1 lap I did. So uneconomical. Obviously, it's going to be with the supercharger sucking all that fuel through it. But I don't think the human brain could handle that power for 6 laps. It would be too much. If
you could only have one bike to ride for the rest of your riding career, what would it be?
That's a good question, that is.
That's a good question, so I'm not going into that one. Or talk us through your thinking process, like, oh, I want this, but
I'm just trying to think of like a versatile motorcycle that can do a number of things that I would want to do on it. First thing that came to mind was my C90 because it, you know, you could ride around the world, people have on that, and I could do a bit of off-road, it would be reliable. That's up near the top of the list, but 55 mile an hour isn't enough, is it? I don't know. That's a very good question. I can't even answer that.
That's going to be C90.
But even over race bikes, yeah, I think, I would. It would be there. That would be in the top 3 without a doubt.
If given the chance, would you give up racing for a year to tour the world?
I probably would, to be honest. Yeah, I would, yeah. Definitely, actually. That would be an opportunity not to be missed, wouldn't it? For sure. And at home, we've got a big map of the world from IKEA, and we've put dots on everywhere we've visited so far, you know. Generated so much conversation at dinner time and things, and just makes you aware of how big the world is.
Yeah.
No one's on this world that long, are they? It's a big world to see. It definitely open your eyes, I think, if you could see more of it.
Against my better judgment, I did ask people what they wanted to ask you, and the question that comes back is about the size of your balls. And now I refuse to talk the actual matter, but it is a metaphor, and we fans of the racing, we worship the ground you walk on. Make it easier for us. Like you are the king of racing to us. Is there something that makes you like a human? Like, are you afraid of spiders? Is there something that makes you go, oh, I didn't like that? Make us believe that you are a little bit more like us.
I get pretty bad hangovers.
Oh, really?
That's quite normal, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Last year after the senior race, you know, I didn't really eat anything. I just drunk beer and champagne, and then whatever was put in front of me, and you know, I spent the day after really quite poorly. Yeah, that's one thing I could do without, but I'm sure most people suffer with those.
Is there anything you're scared of? Darkness?
No, not
horror
dark,
films?
Heights to a degree, but I've kind of made myself get over that. I don't like to be scared of things. I find it hard to understand when people are scared of certain things, like a spider. And my missus is scared of them, she won't touch them. It cannot harm them in any way, and maybe that's me being obnoxious to a phobia and not being able to understand it, but I kind of like to think of things methodically, so I don't know how you could have a fear of something that has no harm.
How do you feel about your child following your footsteps in the
That's probably one thing I'm a little concerned of, is be scared if the day he comes to me and says, I want to do TT.
What are you going to say?
I don't know what I could say. I would do my best to talk him out of it. But then, like my dad, you know, and mum, they would rather me have not done it. They saw how much I wanted to do it. And even if they'd have tried in all their will to stop me doing it, I'd have still done it because it was something I wanted to do so much. It was no one's influence was going to affect me. I guess if he wants to do it that much, then he will, but I'm not going to encourage him to go with that, you know. Well, I'd rather him do trials or something, maybe a bit safer.
Monty's natural. I saw him at the TT 2 years ago. I was like, he's better than me. He's the way he handled that little bike. He's fantastic.
And he does shock me sometimes the way he does some things. The main thing to me is he's happy, and they're both happy, and that's the most important thing.
What's your favourite film, TV show?
I don't know really about film. TV, quite like more documentary stuff. There's a lot of shite on telly now, and they're like these glamorised idiots who are celebrities for actually doing nothing. They're just for being stupid. And it makes no sense. And they and other people are making a lot of money off the back. I don't understand that.
I actually don't even have a TV for that reason.
Really?
Because it's so crap.
Yeah, but I do like to watch. We watch quite a lot of catch-up stuff, you know, and watch the documentaries and things that are kind of semi-educational.
Yeah, I feel like the television is about all these people who don't matter, and there's very little attention to people who are worth the attention. I saw the list of how much money you win at the TT, and I looked at the numbers and I thought, this is the most unappreciated sport.
Yeah, we probably better not talk about that. Definitely need to dress in. People who assume we earn loads of money, then they should take a look, because it's all there to be seen. The prize money, biggest race of the week, for what I got for second place is silly. I don't think people are aware of that.
I don't want to knock down football, but like, what do you need if you want to play football? You just need to buy a ball and then you can practice, and then they get so much money where you have to put in so much much,
Risk.
and then you get risk and money and preparation and like the equipment. Like people don't really look at it, how much money goes into the sport, and then at the end you win something that wouldn't really buy you half a bike. It is silly money. It's so unappreciated, that sport. What's your dream date?
Nowadays, once kids are involved, it's hard to get out and get that time. Weirdly, we actually spoke last night about trying to get away somewhere for a night or a weekend, just to, kid free and relax, shut down a bit, because it's easy to get tied in with everything. You can't get away from that. So it would be nice to kind of go for dinner somewhere. I don't care, just some quality time with Rhiannon would probably be my. And that sounds really soppy, but that, it'd be nice that. And it will happen. I don't know if it's going before TT, but we'll get out sometime this year, I think.
Balls question again.
Anstey, Bruce Anstey, he's like so mellow, he's so chilled out, the guy, and he just hibernates. When TT isn't on, he disappears, nobody knows where he is. Well, if we do, he's probably in bed.
It's the grossness, it's like when you kill them, they go, it's that, I can't do it. I will hover them in, that's all I can do.
See, but he's not harming anyone in there, is he? He's just...
I know, and I feel bad.
I think how many poor spiders get hoovered up or killed for they're not harming any single person. They're just a happy little spider, and because someone doesn't. And I'm not getting too involved with it, but that's one thing I don't understand.